Last week, this channel hit 100 subscribers, and I cannot tell you how mind-blowing that is to me. I appreciate you so much for viewing and commenting and just giving me an outlet to talk about these things that I'm excited to talk about. Thank you to everybody also who encouraged me and really helped me hit this milestone, because I couldn't have done it without the support of so many amazing other people. I am grateful, I am thankful, and I'm excited. So let's go take a look at some comic books. That was so loud in here, you have no idea. Welcome to Haul Yeah Comics. My name is Nate, and I have issues. Today's issues came from two different places. The first set we're going to look at came from a trade I made with a fellow YouTuber, Haden, the Next Gen Collector. If you'd like to see the books that he got in this part of the trade, you're going to need to check out his video on his channel, which you should do anyway, because he's an excellent YouTuber and a really nice guy. He also gives me hope for the future because he's one of the younger collectors that I know of, and we gotta have those younger collectors if we want to see this hobby continue to grow. The books that I got are great. Up first, I've got a Marvel Holiday Special. Now, I think he may have snuck this one in on me. I don't know that this is one of the ones that we agreed to at first, but I think he knew from one of my prior videos how much I love superhero Christmas specials, and so I'm really excited to have this one with the FF and Spidey decorating a Christmas tree. This next book, the cover is very iconic. We've got Swamp Thing issue number 9. Now, it's not in great shape, and I knew that going in, but as far as it goes, it looks really good to me, and I'm really glad to have it, and it's a book that I very much plan to put on my display back here on my filing cabinet. I'm not a Swamp Thing collector, but I do love the Alan Moore run, and I've read it a few times. I don't think I'm going to end up buying many more single issues of it, but I was really excited to get this one just because it is so iconic and it is a character that I like. The next book I got from Haden was Brave and the Bold number 58. This is Metamorpho's second appearance. I am a huge fan of the character of Metamorpho. I have his ongoing series, at least 3 or 4 of the first issues, and this being his second appearance is huge right now because he's going to appear in the James Gunn Superman movie. The price of his first appearance and this second appearance and the first issue, they've all fluctuated quite a bit. I was really happy to be able to get this one in a trade and not have to go too much out of pocket and pay some of those speculator prices. And it's a really good looking copy of this book, so I'm excited to have this one and to read it. Now, this book may be my favorite one of the entire trade, even though it's not the one I'm going to show you last. It's another Brave and the Bold. It's a 12 center, so this is a Silver Age book, Brave and the Bold, number 80. This is Batman and the Creeper teaming up against the Hellgrammite. Hellgrammite? Hellgrammite. How do you say that?
Hellgrammite.
The reason I'm so excited to add this one to my collection is because I love covers where people have been transformed. And one of the ways that they do transformations is, like body horror type things. And if you get a good look at the Hellgrammite on here, holy cow, he's like some kind of grasshopper, mantis. A Hellgrammite is actually like the larval form of a Dobson fly, and they look really gnarly. And this guy is being transformed into one. This is a Neil Adams cover, and it's Neil Adams art on the inside as well. Neil Adams being one of my absolute favorite artists and really, really one of my favorite Batman artists. To be able to add this book to my collection, I am just like beside myself with how much I love it. And, Haden had told me that this one it had some issues. I don't see any issues. I mean, this thing is beautiful. So I really kind of think he undersold what he had. I am really, really happy with this one. This may be my favorite book of the trade. Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Haden. I am really happy to have it. Now, the final book I'm going to show you may have the most value monetarily, but to me, I feel like the value is really overinflated at the moment. We've got Booster Gold number 1. Booster Gold ran for 24 or 25 issues. It is a run I'm trying to put together, and this number 1 has eluded me for a while because it's Booster's first appearance. It's the first appearance of his robot Skeets. It also is very, very inflated because of speculator pricing. There is supposed to be a Booster Gold HBO TV show coming. And because of that, people have bought this book up. In the past, I have seen this book for $5. I've seen this book in dollar bins back in the day. But now, I mean, you see it graded. On the back of this, it even says on there like $80 for this particular issue. Somebody had this. Hayden, I'm extremely happy with our trade. I know that you are too. If you don't happen to already watch The Next Gen Collector, please go check out his videos and see what his side of this trade looked like. And I know that you're going to want to stick around because he's a great YouTuber. So that trade that I made with Haden was my first haul. I have a second haul here that I picked up at a local flea market where I went digging. There were 2 long boxes. All of these books were priced between $1.50 and $3. So the first set I'm going to show you here are books that I just couldn't leave behind, even though they weren't books that I personally wanted for myself. Just seeing what they were, I had to pick them up. The first one is a RoboCop Terminator from Dark Horse Comics. This is number 1 of 4. This one I actually know what I'm doing with. This one's going to be for my friend Brian. I don't know if you do this, but I am constantly picking up books for other people, books that I know that they'll like. Brian is a huge fan of RoboCop, and I picked up some of the Marvel RoboCop series for him. If it's from the 1980s and it's an action sci-fi movie like Terminator, it's something else that he loves. So the fact that they were teamed up in this was something that I knew that I had to get for him. There was no way I was going to leave this in a box for somebody else. This belonged to my friend. The next 2 go together. This is issue 1 and issue 2 of Marvel's run of Ren and Stimpy. Now, I know the number 1 came as a polybag. This was, again, these were $1.50 each, and I just felt like there was more value in that, or that I could find somebody who would really be into these. So I just couldn't leave these behind. They weren't for me, but I mean, when I look at them, it's like they haven't even been read. They don't have a single stress mark or tick or anything on them. So I just had to get these because the price was so insane for the condition, and I just knew that there had to be some value in it, if not monetarily for myself, then sentimentally or nostalgia for someone else. I know that the next book can have a little bit of value as well. This is Icon number 1, and this is the polybagged cover. This has been taken out of the polybag, but this has the first preview of Static, or Static Shock if you know the cartoon. It's not his first appearance, it's not Static's first appearance, but it's just something from that Milestone series that I know people attribute to. It's an early Static appearance. It's one of the first glimpses we got of that hero. So $1.50, it's coming home with me. The last book that I could not leave behind was Infinity War number 1. Now this is not just a wraparound cover, but this is a, what do they call that? A double gatefold cover, where the whole thing just kind of comes out and we get this big old giant poster. I love gimmicky crap like this, as you're going to see here in a few minutes. And I don't know what this has to do with anything. I never read this. I don't know how much this has connection with the Thanos movies of the MCU, but just the gimmick alone, you know, I'm sure this was a big summer event. With everybody that's on the cover, there was no way I could leave this behind. Now, I do collect Batman and Detective Comics, even though I know full well I will never put a complete run of those series together, because it's just too many, too much money, and it'll never happen. But when I see books that I don't own and they're $1.50 each, I'm grabbing them. So this first one here is an awesome Kelly Jones cover with Bane and Batman. This is Detective Comics number 664, $1.50, nice. This, holy cow, is this one here is Detective Comics number 665. Let's get a real nice look at what's going on this cover. We've got Batman about to hit somebody with a nail with a board in it. And Tim Drake, Robin, is in the background looking on in absolute horror. So this is during the period where Bruce Wayne's back had been broken by Bane, and he was no longer Batman, and it was Jean-Paul whatever, the guy who was Azrael, and he was crazy. He was like off his rocker, and so obviously he takes to crime. His approach to crime is a little bit more extreme than Batman's, as if Batman's wasn't extreme enough, right? So I loved to get this cover. I can't wait to read this story. I hope the cover's not overselling it. Now, Detective Comics 671, I'd never seen this cover before. It's another Kelly Jones cover, and we've got classic horror movie monsters. Frankenstein, the Mummy, Wolfman. We've got Batman, protecting a woman from these monsters. I just loved the composition of this cover, and I loved the subject matter. So again, having not read this, I really hope the cover's not overselling it. I can't wait to see how these monsters are incorporated into this Batman story. Going back to where I like to buy covers that have body horror or body transformations, this one here fit the bill for me. This is Superman number 66. We've got what I think is the Justice League of the time, and they are all being disintegrated into skeletons. Just a really cool, iconic cover. I was kind of hoping that this glowed in the dark because it has that look to it, but it didn't. But don't worry, there's some glow-in-the-dark stuff coming here in a bit. All right, let's talk gimmicky nonsense. I'm a sucker. I just am. Sometimes I see something and I know full well that it's stupid. But then I think, well, hey, you're stupid too. Go ahead and get it. And I do. So I end up with stuff that I don't know why I have it or what I'm going to do with it. But hey, it's the Silver Surfer 50th issue special and it's shiny as all get out. I don't know. These foil covers, these shiny covers, these gimmicky covers. This is just the start. There's a few more coming. I don't know why. I don't know what's wrong with me. Today, the modern comics, it drives me crazy to see all these variants. Like there's 10 different covers for a particular issue. As far as I know, this was the only cover for this issue. It's just stupid. But hey, got me to buy it, so who's stupid now? Oh, I am. Speaking of gimmicky, what about die-cut covers? Like where, look, Wolverine has slashed through. There's a great old Fantastic Four cover where Dr. Doom is like ripping the cover off, but it's just part of the artwork that they did. This actually has a hole cut through it. Like, look, I can see you. I can see you. Can you see me? I can see you. So it's like Wolverine's claws have shredded the cover of this Wolverine, another issue 50. I do have quite a few Wolverine books. I like Wolverine as a character. I don't know how much I like this, but I had to have it. Why? This is an illness. Hey, remember when I said glow in the dark? Well, check this out. This is Ghost Rider number 15, and this is a glow in the dark cover. I don't collect Ghost Rider. I don't particularly like Ghost Rider, but this is a sparkly gimmick, and I bought it because sparkly gimmick. Let's see if we can see it. You can kind of see it. Nah, the computer screen's kind of reflecting. There's not much I can do about that, but isn't that cool? Hey, wait, I'll put it over my own head. I am the Ghost Rider. I ride the ghosts. Oh, that sounds dirty. Now, aside from gimmicky covers, I also like to buy first issues. And hey, what if it's a gimmicky first issue? Would I buy that? I did. It's Spectre number 1 by John Ostrander. I actually like John Ostrander a lot as a writer and a creator. This is his run on the Spectre, which I don't know a lot about, but I do know that people love Tom Mandrake's art on it. This is another glow-in-the-dark cover. So, I don't know. Let's take a look at this one too. Yeah, it's showing up pretty good. All right, so we got another skull. We got another glow-in-the-dark. We got another glow-in-the-dark cover. Yeah. I do have some runs of the Spectre, and I'm not sure what volume this is, but if it's a good read, I'll probably pick up more of it. Like I said, John Ostrander is a solid writer and somebody who I really enjoyed the work that he did prior. It's another gimmicky number 1. We've got the Metal Men number 1, and it's a shiny cover, and it's 90s as all get out. Why does Dr. Magnus have a gun? A big old Liefeldian gun? Why is Dr. Magnus shooting all of the Metal Men? Didn't he create the Metal Men? Shouldn't he love the Metal Men? This looks terrible. This looks terrible, but I think it was $2. I mean, this doesn't look any good at all, but it's shiny. It's shiny, and I'm going to read it. Look at that. Look at that shine. Oh, right in your face. Look at that shine. It's like a J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie. All right, up next, these are number 1s. This is a number 1. It's not gimmicky, and I'm actually excited to have it. I collect the Tim Drake run of Robin. but I don't have the first issue. I've actually never even seen it. I have, like, you know, those miniseries they did, Robin and Robin 2, The Joker's Wild. You can find those all the time, but I never had the number 1 of the ongoing, so I was excited to get that. And then this Flea Market, he also had the issue number 3. Unfortunately, no issue number 2. I was excited to get these because this is a run that I'm collecting. How about another first issue? Supergirl number 1. I don't think a lot of people liked this volume, but it's just really hard for me to leave a first issue behind, and I've been collecting so much Super Family stuff and so much Superman stuff from the Triangle era, the death of Superman, Superman coming back, funeral for a friend, all of that. So I really like the character of Supergirl, and I couldn't leave this behind, not when it was so cheap and not when it was a first issue. Up next, we've got, I believe this is written and drawn by Steve Ditko. This is Speedball the Masked Marvel. Oddly enough, I just read an article in Rolling Stone about Steve Ditko and how reclusive he was. There was a lot of things said about him being, you know, an odd character. He was definitely a private individual. He didn't like his photograph to be taken. He integrated a lot of his personal philosophy into the characters that he wrote. Speedball to me is just a very goofy 90s character. He was in the New Warriors. Of course, he ends up becoming something much more in the Civil War series in the early 2000s. But, you know, this was something that I never owned before, never read before, and I just had to pick it up for a couple of bucks. All right, the next 2 are books that I already had, but like I said, the books in this collection look like they've never been read. I don't know where they came from, but they were just all in basically perfect condition. So this is the mini-series. This is Nomad number 1. Jack Monroe the Nomad, former Bucky, and this series in the 1990s was one that actually really appealed to me and still does. I gave it a reread not too long ago. Yes, it's very 90s, it's very anti-hero, it's, you know, grim dark, the way that the 90s was always wanting to be gritty and extreme, but it's pretty good. And it's consistent, and I really like the art. The art is stylized without being like that 90s stylized. So there was a lot to like about this series, and when I saw this number 1 in such a good condition, I grabbed it because I didn't know, you know, was this something that I just wanted to have for myself or something that I might give to somebody else to get them excited about the book. If you've never read the 4-issue miniseries that precluded the ongoing, I would recommend it. It really is a good book. Now the next one that I have is also a Nomad number 1. This is the first issue of the ongoing series, and I would not say that this is a good book. I'm putting the complete run together. I believe it's 25 issues. There are some really good moments in this series. I think that the writing tries to have a lot to say about social issues of the day and did it in a way that wasn't always the most popular way to talk about those things. But, you know, the art style was more of that 90s extreme style, and it didn't have the same appeal, to me at least, as the miniseries did. Now, this one here, this first issue, I love that it opens up and we get a couple of things. First, you get a giant map of like everywhere that Jack and Bucky have gone and the adventures they're going to have, and then we also get a really cool wanted poster of Jack Monroe with a pencil sketch by the artist. I mean, that is one heck of a fold-out cover, right? I mean, this thing's huge. It's like basically my whole arm span. I didn't think that this book was great. Oh, look, we've got Cap, and we got Cap and the Punisher, both with targets on them. We've got, I don't know who that lady is. And then there's Jack and Bucky. Like I said, the ongoing wasn't great, but when I saw this, I couldn't pass it up. Not for what it was. I paid $1.50, and if I would have bought it in the 90s, it was $2. So, you know, even if I were a time traveler, I saved 50 cents, I could buy a Coke in the 1990s. All right, my last 2 books I did pay a little bit more for. I think I paid $5, maybe $6 each for these, but I was really happy to have them. The first one is Excalibur, the Mojo Mayhem. First off, the X-Men have been turned into babies, and I always am going to love a good cover transformation. The back has a really nice drawing of Mojo himself with his big fat I like to watch TV Jabba the Hutt face. This story has art by Art Adams, and it looks amazing. He's such a good artist for this time period. I love Excalibur. I am not a big X-Men collector at all, but I love X-Factor and I love Excalibur. And I had just picked up another one of these, like a prestige book, you know, the square bound. And I had just picked up the first appearance of the Excalibur team and had just read it. And then to find this in a bin, I'm not sure where it falls in the continuity, if it's just a special or what, but I'm really happy to have it because the art is amazing and they're characters that I like. So just look again one more time at those little baby X-Men, little baby Wolvie and Storm and Longshot and Colossus. It's pretty ridiculous. And then Excalibur, they're all adults, so I guess they didn't get babyfied somehow. They managed to avoid it. I can't wait to read this one. And then the last book that I picked up, I do love Green Lantern. I do love a gimmicky shiny cover. And this is Ganthet's Tale, written by Larry Niven with art by John Byrne. This is a book I've never read before. Ganthet, I know, is one of the most important guardians on Oa, who bestow the Green Lanterns with their rings, so having never read this, I was excited. I really like Green Lantern Corps stories. Looking at the cover here, you can see that there's just a lot of aliens on here. It's not going to be just a Hal Jordan story. We're going to get, at least I hope it's not just a Hal Jordan story. I hope we get a lot more of the Corps and the aliens, because that's what's cool to me about the Green Lantern Corps, is that it's this like universal police force that humanity is a part of, but not in charge of. So that's this week's haul video. Thanks to Haden for helping me make a trade, thanks to the Flea Market for having cheap prices, and thank you to you for watching. Please don't forget to give the video a like, subscribe if you want to see more, leave me a comment. Thank you so much. I will see you in the next one, and because I have another one of these poppers, let's just go ahead and do it. Oh my god, that is so loud! Bye-bye. I didn't like that, so let's try it again. Cheap piece of crap. One more time. So itchy after I burp. Oh, do they have White Castle where you live? Because that was White Castle.